So this is what I have been working on all week. So I'm taking these clear acrylic sheets like so and turning them into personalized bag tags. We're gonna attach these tassels to them to finish the look. It took me a while to figure out, honestly, how to make one of these, but I think I've gotten my method down pat. Let's do a quick batch of these from start to finish so you can see the whole process. So I'm not a calligraphy artist, like I'm not very good at calligraphy, honestly. So what I did was I was given a list of names and I found like a calligraphy-ish font. It's just like this cursive font that I felt I could emulate to give it that look. So I printed them out in the size that I would need them to be for the bag tags to work. And I'll put the acrylic over it like so, and then I can see it. And I'm taking this liquid chrome pen that's super duper shiny and then just tracing the names so I can see them. So with these acrylic tags, something to keep in mind is they come with a film to protect the front and the back. You don't want to peel them until you're ready to work on them because they do tend to get damaged very easily. Take your acrylic piece. I'm only going to peel the top part because that's where I'm writing down the name. I'm going to move this a little bit more to the end, like so. And then basically, I can still kind of see through it, and I'll just trace the words. And I find because the marker is thicker than the font, I kind of have to move it to make room so it doesn't look so squished. And if I'm not crazy about something, like I don't like the way the J's are coming out in this particular font that I've picked, luckily, this pen comes off with some alcohol. So I just very gently spray it with alcohol and then wipe it with a clean, lint-free cloth so we don't get anything on our acrylic. Then wait for that to dry and try again. This trick, when I realized that I could do that with this pen, really saved my butt because like the first batch was so hard for me to just kind of get over the hump of my like, can I do this? I've never done it before, insecurities, you know? So at least I knew nothing that I made was permanent and I could just change it if I wanted. There, I like that better. So the next step is these have to dry because I'm now going to flip them over and then paint on the back side. But before that, we need to prep some tape. So what I like to do is, what's up with this masking tape? Oh, never experienced that before. For some reason, this particular brand of masking tape, it looks like it's been cut into pieces and then like layered on top of each other, like pre-cut. And this isn't something that I did from a previous project and just forgot about. This is a new roll that I just busted out. That is so weird. I've never tried anything like that before. Cut it. And then I just cut it in half. And then I just prep a whole bunch of these while I wait for this to dry. Now you have to peel off the backside. And see, now it's a clear piece of acrylic. Front side down. That's why we had to wait for it to dry because we didn't want the front to smudge. Then you take half and then tape the other side. And then I like to push it down to make sure that paint doesn't seep in. If the first coat seeps underneath and then the second coat doesn't, when you rip up the tape, it rips up the paint, and that is not what we want. I do that for this whole sheet, and then we can go on to painting. I'm gonna be here a while. All our prep is done. That, in my opinion, was the most tedious part. And now we can finally get to the fun part. I'm gonna slouch a little bit because I don't want to move the tripod. Which is the painting. This part I actually find very satisfying. Put on a painting smock. Here we go. You want a flat brush. This is what I've found works best. And what I like to do, oh, there's like a piece of fluff. I tried as much as I could to only touch the masking tape. So I like to do a little dollop of paint right towards the end, but not right at the end. And then, I have to go this way. So the trick is to keep it very light. Don't push down. The urge to push down is going to be there. So I like to spread it from one end of the masking tape to the other. Then I very lightly drag it across and just lift my hand up. Drag and lift. Drag and lift. And then just leave it. That's one coat. We're gonna do maybe 2 or 3 coats. So far, 2 has been working well for me, but let's see. The more you mess with it, the streakier it's gonna get, and like in a really not nice way. These are actually a little too thick. I think I might be putting on too much paint because like the ends aren't getting that very feathery brush stroke texture that I'm hoping for. So let's try 1 dollop of paint, spread it around to all ends, and then brush and lift. Oh, too soon. Brush and lift. There we go. Brush and lift. Just be very light. Be very gentle. And drag and lift. They don't all have to look identical. They are like individual snowflakes. Each one of them is special in their own way. At this point, you're going to be very tempted to peel off that tape and take a look at what you've done on the other side to see how it turns out. Resist this urge. You will need a second coat, 100%. If you just do 1 coat, it's gonna look streaky. It's not gonna look very opaque. Just resist the urge to peel it and check your work at this point. Let it dry completely, and then do a second coat. Good morning. It is a brand new day. I left these to dry overnight, and now let's take a look at how they turned out. I have high hopes, guys. And here is the final result. All we have to do now is add the tassels and they will be complete. So do you see like this bit where there's like a tiny bit of bond paper that's stuck to it? That's because the paint edged too close to the edge and it actually glued the bond paper to the paint, which is why it lifted up a bit of the bond paper. But that's okay, we can clean that up because it was just a little bit and I was very careful to make sure that that didn't happen to a lot of these. So maybe like there's one or two where that accidentally happened and that's fine, I can fix that. So I finished a batch of these, the batch that you just saw me make, and I was getting started on the final batch when I noticed that the bottom of the ones that I had already made were feeling a bit tacky. And when I stacked them on top of each other, they actually damaged the names that were on top. So there was something about the paint at the bottom. I know there's going to be some concern that the name comes off with alcohol. I have been cleaning these with soap and water and I've been using dish soap and the names do not come off. Even if I like really try to scrub them off, the names don't come off. So they are waterproof. They only come off with alcohol and most likely acetone. But why would you use acetone to clean your products, right? So I'm not so worried about that. I am worried that if it's hot, like it is in the Philippines, it might cause it to damage whatever you hang the bag tag on. And I definitely don't want that to happen. I don't want the green paint to transfer onto something that you put this on. So I tested it on something and it really did come off and leave green paint residue behind. So what I did was I purchased this acrylic varnish. So this is specifically for acrylic paint. And I'm taking a tiny paintbrush and I'm just painting directly on where the stripe is. And I've tested that. I do a couple of layers of this and I tested it by even spraying it with alcohol and then rubbing it off. And now the paint is completely sealed. It is not smudging at all. So at least I feel safe to pass these along, knowing that they're not gonna damage whatever item you put it on. Thanks so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed this DIY. I hope you try it out for yourself. I'll leave a link to everything that I used in the description below in case you do want to give it a go. And if you do, be sure to tag me on Instagram because I would love to see your recreations. I will see you in the next one. Bye!